Prihatin TV, suara prihatin rakyat. What is Ketuanan Melayu?
The issue of Malay Supremacy is in other words, just like patriotism. We promise to all Malaysians respecting the constitutional guarantees of freedom of conscience, of religion, of expression and the rule of law, to dismantle discriminatory practices, including obsolete economic policies that deliberately or at least claim to protect the Malays and the indigenous tribes, but actually in effect enrich the few cronies. But having said that, I am strongly in favor of affirmative action. The vast majority of the Malays are still poor. There's also the marginalized poor Indians and pockets of poverty among Chinese in the midst of plenty.
I mean, let's be specific. You say you want to move to just affirmative action. Does that mean absolutely no race-based policies of any kind?
Yeah. Affirmative action based on need. The vast majority would benefit the poor, the marginalized, and they happen to be the Malays. I'm saying this because to allay the fear now of the Malays. The entire dynamics and the equation have changed somewhat. We are seen or perceived to be protecting the Chinese and Indians, which is not true. We're here to protect all.
I mean, that message is clear to me, but will you take that message to the Malays? Will you say, I'm not standing up for you based on my Malay kinship with you? I mean, you yourself are a Malay. I mean, is that your direct message to the Malays?
Yeah, our position is that we will continue to support those who have been marginalized or those in need to be given opportunities. Say in education, is democratization of access to quality education. It's just, so I do believe that the Malays therefore should be fearful of this change after being comfortable with the policy of the new economic policy, affirmative action based on race for the last 4 decades.
Well, I mean, there's affirmative action and the idea that the Malays need economic upliftment. And there's also Ketuanan Melayu, Malay Supremacy, the idea that Malay should have special rights, special benefits, because this is Malaysia, this is their ethnic homeland, and not the Indians, not the Chinese minorities. Have you ever supported that?
The issue of Malay supremacy is, I mean, in other words, just like patriotism becoming the last refuge of a scoundrel. And precisely that's it. It's
Patriotism becoming the last refuge of a scoundrel.
Yes, it's completely irrelevant in the discourse today. What the Malays want is that they are given adequate opportunities. What the Chinese and Indians want is that they are given fair treatment as citizens of this country. And I think we can pursue this with such confidence and certainty. Why then talk about Malay supremacy? I mean, this is again an issue to deflect from the criticism of the so-called Malay bias policies. Our contention is that the so-called Malay policy, the new economic policy, is enriching the few members of the ruling clique.
Jangan lupa bantu like dan subscribe Prihatin TV. Sehingga bersiaran lagi. Assalamualaikum.